What if you could have a Linux distribution designed for the cloud and the edge that was minimal, secure, and ready to extend? That is Hadron, a minimal Linux distribution that you can use as the base for your entire infrastructure. So why did the Kairos team build a new Linux distribution? Well, because the cloud native and edge world has been forced to compromise for a long time now. We've been taking general purpose distributions built for desktops, sometimes servers, with decades of legacy, and trying to squeeze them into a mold that they just don't fit into an immutable, minimal, image-based system. Every extra package, downstream patch, legacy dependency, this is all dead weight that compounds and accumulates over time. And you're carrying that into every node within your fleet. Hadron is different. It's not a fork, not a remix. It's built from scratch with a single purpose: to be the cleanest possible foundation for immutable infrastructure. Now, let's talk about musl. This is something that a lot of developers and operators have some confusion on because it's just not part of your day-to-day. Hadron does use musl libc instead of GNU libc, much like the Alpine project. libc is orders of magnitude larger and has far more CVEs. So by using Hadron with musl, you get Alpine's minimalism with the ecosystem compatibility of mainstream distributions. Because the Kairos team pair musl with system D, the modern init system that everything else already expects. This is a unique proposition from the Hadron and Kairos team. Now, all of this, while it may sound interesting, it is done with intentionality and purpose. Again, we come back to minimalism, footprint, and security posture. And Hadron is built with a container file or a Docker file. This becomes your software bill of materials, your SBOM, when everything is defined line by line in a simple text file. The full supply chain is visible, and you can audit exactly what's in there, as a snapshot or over time. Now, this isn't just about building something that's small. It's about building something with control and improved security posture. Again, intentionality and purpose. Every binary is compiled from source with known provenance, but of course it doesn't hurt that it's smaller either, because shipping less means less to attack. There are three variations of the Hadron image. Hadron itself, which is used for virtual machines and for bare metal. The Hadron container for when you want to run it in your favorite container runtime. And by the way, that container comes in at a whopping 11 megabytes. And then there's the Hadron toolchain, which is a convenience image that has all of the compilers and build tools that you may need. And of course, you can always build your own or add to it. Now, I think that's enough of the waffle talkie, and about time we kick things up a notch and take a look at getting Kubernetes running using Hadron. Okay, so let's get K3s running with Kairos on top of Hadron. You can find everything that I'm about to do on the Hadron quick start page of the Kairos.io website. If you're on a Mac like me with Apple Silicon, there is no ARM64 release just yet, so we are going to have to emulate the AMD 64, which you can download from this link here. From there, just pick whatever virtual machine manager you wish to use. Today I'm going to use UTM, where we can create and emulate Linux. We're pretty much just going to accept the defaults for everything as long as we select the ISO. That would probably help. Continue. And I am going to open the VM settings and just change my display. The only way I've found to get this to work is to use VGA GL, at least on my Mac with my setup. Your mileage may differ. From there, we can hit Start. And then we have the grub menu where we can just boot up Kairos like so. And there we go. It is now booting. Now, it's going to get to a stage where it needs a little bit of help. That is, it's going to need some user data. So if we come over to our browser and scroll down, you'll see that the Kairos team have provided some cloud in it. What's going to happen here is that this is going to run Kairos, which has a web interface where we can browse to it, provide the cloud in it, hit save, the machine will reboot, and we will get our K3S cluster. Ain't that cool? And now we just have to do the patience game. All right, I didn't have to be that patient. We now have a QR code rendered to our terminal, but also an IP address and a port number available at the bottom too. So this is 64.4 on port 8080. And we can drop in our cloud config. This is just saying the username and password is Kairos and the admin group, and we're going to enable K3S. We'll say reboot after installation, device is auto, just use whatever you find, and click install. Now you can see here that it's creating partitions, doing installations. That is because Kairos gives us an immutable image-based system with an image A and an image B. This means that upgrades always run on this blue-green deployment cycle of updating the other partition depending on which one is currently active and which one is the fallback. So let's just let that installation do its thing, and we'll come back once it's ready. All right, our node is now rebooting. Now we have Kairos and fallback. This is the AB partitions that it sets up for the immutable upgrades. We'll boot partition 1. And we'll give that a little minute to boot up before we try SSHing in and checking to see if our K3S cluster is alive, which I'm sure it will be. And people say Linux isn't exciting. Okay. Now, we could SSH in, or we can use this virtual terminal from UTM. So let's just log in with Kairos and Kairos. All right, so now we're logged in. We can run PS. We'll see that we have a K3S server running here, PID 1514. We'll just do kube control get nodes. Permission denied. So let's sudo su. Kube control get nodes. In fact, we'll just assume this is going to work and grab pods, services, and endpoints while we're at it, just so we get some information back from the Kubernetes API. We have one node, one service, one endpoint, no pods. Perfect. Now, that's K3S, and that is fantastic and amazing. But you can use a Docker file or a container file like we see in front of us, where we can use Hadron toolchain to make sure we can handle any compilation and builds of software that we need. Specifically, in this example, we are building Nginx from source. So we'll scroll down past all the boring bits of Nginx, and then down here, we're actually just going to use from Hadron and use Hadron as our base, where we can copy from our builder layer the Nginx binary and run Nginx. You can then take this container file, build a container image, and export it as an ISO using all of the tools provided by the Kairos and Hadron project. Sometimes the best things really are just that simple. So to recap, Hadron is a minimal Linux for virtual machines and bare metals that can run Kubernetes out of the box using Kairos. It has zero behavior patches, full supply chain transparency, software bill of materials, and better security posture, while leveraging musl libc for that tiny extra secure footprint. Paired with systemd, the init system, again, that everyone just expects. If you're running Kubernetes at the edge, or you want the smallest attack surface with the best security posture with the fastest boot times, then you should be looking at Hadron and Kairos, because they're tools built for you. I hope this video piqued your interest. Until next time, have a great day.